maybe we should pop our heads in here. There's a lot of risk to take with our brand new Diego and our core sister scanners probes. But we're doing it. This is Bill. Bill wants to build a Cynabal and join the Angel Cartel cause in Zarzak, but he's not making it easy on himself. Now, when you jump into a wormhole, there are a few things to know. The first thing is, there's no local. This list doesn't show anybody, not even me. I can't know if I'm the only one in the system or if there are 100 people cloaked right on grid with me. Until someone talks in the local chat, they just don't appear. So we're not going to talk. We're going to descan, and we see nothing. So we're going to find a safe spot, we're going to make a safe spot, and we're going to launch our probes, and we're going to see what we see in the system. But before we warp away, we want to bookmark this wormhole. Because if we want to get out of the system, we're going to need to use this wormhole to make our escape, and if we don't bookmark it now, we're going to have to scan it down again. And then, before our cloak expires, we're going to warp off to a distant planet and drop a safe spot on the way. Now the good news here is this system is small. The furthest away planet is only 7 AU from us, and there's nothing on D-scan, which is pretty good news. I'm going to switch my D-scan filter to all. Okay, what do we see here? We see a player-owned station, a POS, that's active because of the force field. We see some customs offices and an Eve Scout container. And that's it. So there's a POS in here. There's no ships in space. It seems pretty unlikely that this is an extraordinarily active system. I'm going to assume that there aren't a bunch of people cloaked in here, and we're going to carry about our business. We're going to scan this place down. It's worth taking a moment here to talk about what you're looking for when you descan in a wormhole. Because there's no local, you're looking for clues that might tell you whether or not it's likely that someone else is in here in system with you. Obviously, if you see a ship on D-scan, then that gives you your answer. But if there's no ships on D-scan, it's not the reassurance you might hope, because wormhole space is the natural habitat of cloaky ships like T3 cruisers. So there's other things on D-scan that can let you know that someone's been here quite recently. We're talking things like wrecks, mobile depots, mobile tractor units. But other things can tell you if people are in here, living in here on a regular basis. Citadels, obviously, and then POSes, like the control tower that we've seen here. If a citadel or an NPC station is like a city in space, a POS is kind of like a little frontier outpost with a communal bonfire and a palisade. It's a pretty rough-in-it way to live, but people can live in them. When you see a POS, you're going to look and see if there's also a force field, because there are a lot of offline abandoned POSes left all throughout wormhole space, and the force field tells you this POS is online, it's fueled, it's active, someone's been here in the last couple of weeks at least. But that doesn't mean they're here now. So the last thing you can do that I didn't mention during the gameplay is you can look on Zkill, type in the system name, the J123405 that you see here, and see if there have been any kills in system recently. If there have been kills in the last couple of days, take a look and see if it's cloaky ships doing the killing, and see if they're killing explorers. The kind of person who is engaging in PvP in a wormhole on a structure grid or on the wormhole grid is usually a different person than the one who is intentionally hunting explorers in the data and relic sites. So if you don't see herons, probes, Astros, covert op ships on the kill board, then you can probably feel relatively confident that there's not someone actively hunting explorers in that system. What we see here, one MR control tower small, one force field, no other warning signs. That leaves me feeling pretty comfortable to explore in here. And remember, I said, this is a small system. Everything that's in space is within 14.3 AU D-scan range of where I started. If it's a bigger system, if there's planets and such that are 30, 40, 90 AUs away, you are going to want to make sure that you warp over to them and D-scan over there as well. You don't want to see an empty D-scan, start exploring, and not know that there's a whole uncloaked fleet 90 AU away at the planet you didn't scan. Let's filter out the anomalies for now. Look at all these signatures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 signatures. I think we might find something that we are interested in here. Now, one of these signatures is going to be our exit hole. But then the other 7, some of them will probably be more wormholes. Wormhole systems are connected together by a shifting network of wormholes that act sort of like jump gates in a way. But the other ones, well, who knows what they could be. Let's launch our sister's probes. We are going to be really pounding that D-scan, though. Should warp back to our safe spot rather than just sitting at the planet. Now, you'll notice also that all of these wormhole systems are minus 1.0, as low of security as they can possibly be. There is no Empire or Concord presence out here, probably, obviously. But the other thing that means is that the content that generates in these systems is set to be of the hardest and thus highest reward tier available in the game, which would be really bad news for us if we were looking to do, you know, combat PvE. But if we're looking for scanning sites, there's not really a risk involved with a harder site. There's just more rewards and the possibility that we fail the hacks. So for us looking for data and relic sites, being in a minus 1.0 system is a huge boon. Let's just hope that we don't get probed down and killed in here. Jumping into the first wormhole we find without a cloak and just scanning around is some pretty risky gameplay, we gotta say. But we did start this episode talking about risk and lessons and how we're gonna put ourselves out there and see what we can find. So let's do it. Let's embrace it. Here's another wormhole. We're gonna want to bookmark all of these wormholes just in case something happens to our in wormhole. In case it collapses somehow, or in case it gets camped, we'll have another way out. That can result in us being sort of lost adrift in wormhole space, but as long as we have a probe launcher, as long as we have our probe launcher and our probes, we can always find our way back out. So when you're in a wormhole, the other wormholes that you find, you're always going to want to scan down. This is our out wormhole, actually. We made our safe spot very close to the wormhole, which is not optimal, but we're far enough away that we're off the grid from it, so I don't feel too bad about being camped out here. There's nowhere in system where we could be off of D-scan, so we're just going to ignore the signature now. We know that that's our out wormhole, and we'll scan down this wormhole over here. Okay, I've adjusted my shortcuts because that was driving me nuts. I kept tapping the keyboard. There we go. Okay, we've got this wormhole nailed down, and we've also discovered that this signature is a data site. I'm not sure if that spot is inside our lemon, so to speak, but it looks like it might be. So we're going to assume it's this one over here. Central Santa Survey! It's worth taking a moment to talk about how I knew this site was safe to warp to. I mentioned before that this system, like all W-Space systems, has negative 1.0 security status. Security status varies from plus 1.0 to negative 1.0, and we've mostly been operating in plus 0.2 or 0.3 space, so we are now in the danger zone. That negative 1.0 security status sets the difficulty and reward of pirate content in the system to the maximum. But a maximum difficulty traditional data or relic site, the only thing that difficulty affects is how hard the cans are to hack. There's no inherent danger in the sites, so we can still run them quite safely. But there are also a second kind of data and relic sites that appear in wormhole systems. Those are the sleeper data and relic sites, and they follow a different difficulty curve that's based not on security status, but on the hidden danger level of the wormhole. We're not going to encounter any sleepers, we're not going to run any sleeper content, so the danger level of the wormhole doesn't really matter to us, except that we know that it's one of the lower classes, which is where the pirate data sites can spawn, because the wormhole entrance said unknown system and not dangerous unknown or deadly unknown. But we don't want to accidentally warp to a sleeper data or relic site, because then the high-level sleeper NPCs will come and kill us. So we need to look at the name of the site that we scan down and make sure that it has the name of a pirate faction, in this case Sancha, there in the signature name. And then, as long as it doesn't say Sancha Covert, which is a ghost site, something different, worth running, but we haven't talked about them yet, and they are dangerous. As long as it says a pirate faction name and not the word covert, it is a regular data and relic site. You can warp to it safely. You might fail the hacks because they'll be hard, but nothing's going to blow up your ship except for possibly a cloaked player. A data analyzer module will be invaluable in uncovering the secrets that are likely hidden here, locked away inside data vaults and heavily encrypted digital networks. Now the condensers that we need, I think, might be exclusive to Angel and Galente data sites, but we will absolutely hack this and see what's up. Our data analyzer reaches out to 5,000 meters. Let's look at the hacking minigame. It is nutty. Okay, we are here. We have a hacking software that has effectively 70 hit points and 25 hacking strength. We're going to explore these nodes, and we're going to try and find the central data node. And there, if we can reduce it down to 0 coherence, we open the can. It's a bit of a Minesweeper point-and-click minigame. You sort of have to play it to understand it, but I'll try and walk you through it. I click a node. 3. It tells us that we are 3 squares away from either a beneficial resource cache or the data node itself. 2, 1. So one of these nodes is going to have something. Beneficial resource. Wrench is an item we can just use, and our virus coherence, our hit points, goes up. Now this one over here might still have had something. No, we're now 3 squares away, so let's check out over here. Now this is a secret node. That counts as being something that the numbers give you distance to, but this could be a beneficial resource, or when we open it up, it could be an enemy program we'd have to fight. So we'll leave it unopened for now, and we'll come back to it if we end up needing whatever item might be inside it. These are the enemy programs. We can fight them. If we click on them, we'll do 25 damage to their coherence, but they'll also get to do 20 back to us. So we're going to explore the part of the map that we can explore without going through them first. Oh, I should point out that the thing inside that mystery research cache over there, resource cache over there, cannot be the data node. Okay, so this is a bad guy, and we were 1 away, so this here is something. We've pretty much got to fight something now, because there's nowhere else that we can reach that has any chance of having anything without going through one of these guys. So we sort of have to pick at random. I'm going to pick this guy first. Okay, mystery node. There it is. This is our system core. So the first time we hit it, we'll do 25 damage to it, bringing it down to 45. We'll take 10, bringing us to 58 coherence. We'll hit it again, 25, bring it down to 20. We'll take another 20, bring us to 48. And the third time, we'll bring it to 0 and it won't get to hit us back. So now that we know mathematically we win the fight, we can just click it 3 times and we get to open the can. Oh, wow. Okay. Parity decryptor, process decryptor. These are used for invention, Tech 2 invention, I believe. I think they'll be of no use to us. Most explorers are going to be just selling these. The auxiliary parts, I honestly have no idea what they're used for. But the small ancillary armor repairer blueprint, this is huge for us when we try and go back to PvP someday. An AAR is, it uses nanite repair paste as like charges, but it heals a huge amount of armor until it runs out of charges, which is such a good PvP module. It will mean we'll need to figure out if we can build nanite repair paste though, which I think involves planetary interaction. I'm excited about this though. I'm excited about the possibility of us building some AARs for our next round of Catalyst PvP. And then on to the next can. Even though we're in Wormhole space, which gets the nullsec class of data sites, these are supposed to be the hard cans. We succeeded at that first can on the first try. So let's see if we're just as lucky on this next can. If you fail them twice, they explode, but they do no damage. You just lose the contents. So we're not really risking anything here, except for the chance of somebody sneaking up on us while we're distracted, given that we do not know if we're alone and local or not. So those wrenches, I always just grab them and use them straight away. This is a defensive mod that we can use to give ourselves immunity to 3 attacks, which ends up making it kind of an offensive mod, because you can activate this and then just kill a couple of enemy programs without worrying about them. Okay. So for example here, this guy does a whopping 40 attack. But if we activate our polymorphic shield, we hit him, do 25, he does 0 to us, and we lose 1 charge of our shield. And the second hit just kills him, and our shield's still up. That ends up actually being a really great offensive module, even though it's flavored as a defensive one. Keep using the wrenches. And we found the core. We have a ton of hit points. We still have a shield up. Get out of here. Data cores. Data chip is interesting. There are some things we can build that require data chips. Potentially. We might have use for that. Data cores and decryptors again are, I'm pretty sure, only for invention. But we've got 2 filaments here. Now this is interesting news. The noise filament lets us teleport to a random place in nullsec. The calm exotic filament lets us go into an instanced pocket of weird Triglavian space where we fight high power enemies and get loot that can't be gotten anywhere else. This is going to be an episode very soon. People have been asking in the comments if we're going to run some abyssals, and I've said we can't run abyssals, we can't get filaments. You usually get your first filament from a login reward, and then you get filaments in loot in the abyssal sites. So there was no way for us to get started. But we found one on a data site. Abyssals are now on the menu. All right, Sancha mainframe. I'm gonna pretty much stop walking us through every bit of these. See, this is annoying though. These guys that have 40 strength, we're gonna have to take a 40 strength hit from one of them in order to get through here. So our 88 hit points are gonna go down to 48 in one whack, and then we can just kill it on the next hit. But ideally, you want to only fight those guys when you've got one of those shields up. Yeah, so these are a little bit of a math puzzle where you are just covering the 3, 2, and then this is a 1, so we know it's this way. There we go. All right, there's our core. What's in the mainframe? Carbon. Possibly literally useless. I think it might be used in structure manufacturing. None of these 3 things are going to be of use to us. Now, this is a great thing to do as a new player. Explore these sites, especially these ones in wormholes that you can reach from anywhere, find a wormhole, and suddenly get the top tier nullsec exploration sites. You'll notice that we've already pulled in like 4 million ISK in loot. We're thinking very hard about how we can or can't use all of this stuff to help us out in our run. But if you're a new player who's not doing some sort of crazy bootstrap challenge, then you're just going to look at that and say, hell yeah, 4 million ISK, and go sell it in Jita straight away. Honestly, I really encourage you to do that. This is a healing node. As long as we leave this node out on the map, every turn it's going to heal hit points of some other node, but it can't heal itself. So when we found one of these, and it's the only thing on the map, we're going to kill it immediately. We've also got 2 offensive nodes down here. The kernel rot lets us just click once on a system and take away half its hit points. And then this is a damage over time. We apply it to a system, and then over the next 3 turns that we make, it will take 20 damage each turn. just pretty straightforward offensive attacks. Like I said, it's like Minesweeper sort of mixed with a little bit of like a roguelike sort of NetHack vibe, but really it is a very simple game. Except that sometimes the RNG of the system design can just screw you, especially when, as with us, you have quite low skills. So this cut away half the hit points. Oh, never mind. I was going to use it on this guy here, but we're in a higher tier can now, so he's got 60 hit points instead of 50. So instead we're going to use this thing on him, and then over the next 3 turns he will be being reduced by 20 every time. And we'll use this thing on this guy, and then we'll just take 1 hit from him and get through. All right. Ooh. Yeah, so we're pretty much down to our last legs now. We're gonna have to open one of these resource caches and hope for a useful tool. Except they're just all bad guys. Yeah, we're just dead. We can't kill any of these things, especially not with these guys on here who are virus suppressors. So they've reduced our attack all the way down to 10 now, as long as they're on the field. These guys are a huge pain in the ass. We've just gotta die. But we can try again. Failed the first time, but we get another go. Hope for better luck. Right off the bat, we're gonna have to kill this guy, and we're gonna take so much damage doing it. Oh, haha. I thought we could win that fight with like 5 left. Sorry, that was me being bad at math. Well, we lost 1 databank. Let's try the other one. The databanks, mainframes, comm towers are the different difficulty of cans. Databanks are, I think, the strongest cans that appear anywhere in these kinds of sites. So it's no surprise that with our Tech 1 analyzer and our almost non-existent skills, we're having some difficulty with these databanks. We should not be surprised by that at all. It's part of the reason I bought that blueprint for the mimetic algorithm array rig that we ended up not building in favor of the agility rigs, because it gives us an increase to our hacking hit points. We might want that in the eventually, but it turns out sometimes we can just do it. Look at this. Databank. Tech 1 mods. Databank down. What do you got for us? Okay, we have our choice now of a Firestorm filament or an exotic filament for our first outing into Abyssal space. You'll see that each filament has different sort of environmental effects. So an exotic, kinetic resistance is reduced and scan resolution lock time is improved. That'll affect both us and the enemies. So if we're doing kinetic damage, this might be good for us, for example. And the Firestorm has the effect of reducing thermal resistance and enhancing armor, which again is maybe good for us, except that I feel like most of the NPCs in the Abyssals actually use armor, because that's what the Triglavians do, and they're quite well represented in there. I'm not sure. I don't honestly know enough about Abyssals to know which type we should be preferring. At the lowest tiers, I think that we should be able to do pretty much any of them. So we'll give it a shot. And when we go into an Abyssal filament for the first time, we will be bringing a ship that we absolutely do not mind losing, because the risk of it is significant. In fact, even if the enemies don't kill you inside Abyssal space, if you take more than 20 minutes to complete the site, your ship and pod just explode. Which is going to be a problem, given that as I'm filming these episodes, I am yapping constantly and forgetting to do anything on the UI. I really predict that our first venture into abyssal space is me just dying due to time as I try and explain my thought processes. And that is a Central Santa survey completely cleared. Let's take a look at what we got there in total. We got 4.7 million ISK of data chips, data cores, and decryptors that we probably won't be able to use for anything. We got 3 filaments, which are very interesting and might put us in extreme danger. We got some auxiliary parts, some positron cords, some carbon, and a useless skill book, which are literally nothing to us. And then we got this small ancillary armor repairer, which is huge. I'm so excited about this, but it has given us a build nanite paste side quest, which might end up bringing us back over to the planetary interface, which I'm not excited about. So this gas site here that we've found, we can actually just ignore it. The gas sites that you find in wormholes are different from the gas sites you find in known space. They have specialized gas in them that are used for building T3 cruisers. In known space, when we see a gas site, we are going to be very excited once we've got gas harvesters. But in wormholes, they're just not going to be of use to us. Plus, they're defended by pretty dangerous sleeper NPCs. We want no part of that. Now, similarly to how with the 2 dots, you can often tell which of the 2 dots it's going to be by one of the dots being inside your lemon. Here, with this sphere, it's at the intersection of these 2 probes over here, I guess. But we can look and see if it was anywhere in this part of the circle here, then we would have a dot or 2 dots. So we know that the signature's actually somewhere over here. Okay, mining site, we're not going to be doing mining in wormholes right now. Again, also, the mining sites are guarded by those super dangerous sleeper NPCs. We're looking for data and relic. Another data site. Let's hope it's Angel or Serpentis, which would give us the Mimitar or Galente loot drops we potentially need. Another Central Santa command. Well, we'll take it. This is all new to us. So even though these sites can't drop the specific Cynabal components that we're most excited about, we're still quite interested in seeing what these sites have for us. We're going straight for the databank. Let's hope for a lucky roll on the hacking minigame. Well, yeah, we're just dead here. Okay. Well, we are in a little over our head, but we're gonna keep on swimming. Okay. This can is dead to us. Try this mainframe, it's closest. Yeah, we're dead. Once you get your skills and your modules all up and firing on all cylinders, this game actually becomes trivially easy. And it's not a hard game in the sense that once you figure it out, there's not a lot of strategic decisions to be made, but when you have low skills and crappy mods, your margin for error is quite slim, and as I said before, some of them are just literally unbeatable. So you end up having to think a little bit just to not make mistakes that will turn a potentially winnable game into an unwinnable one. It is making me wonder if, given why we're doing this exploration, it might not make more sense for us to be fitting a cargo scanner and just only hacking the cans that have things in them that are of use to us. This is going to cause a bit of an outcry in the comment section, I'm sure, if I do it, because cherry picking, the idea of running a data or relic site and hacking only the good cans, is something that is seen as a cardinal sin in the exploration community. But time is important to us. I've always been on the side of the cherry pickers, that there's arguments about how completing sites versus leaving them unfinished, how it affects the respawn of the sites. But if you're in dangerous space and you're moving pretty fast, I've actually never found very compelling the argument that it's better for you to be completing all of the cans in every site. I don't think that's true. I think that's something that people have made up to try and justify how viscerally angry people cherry picking makes them. And in our situation particularly, where there are a very specific subset of potential loot in these sites that are of any interest to us at all, it might just be the best way for us to respect the demands of our own time. I think as soon as we get back to Manar, we're putting a cargo scanner on Diego, so that we don't have to play this minigame any more often than is optimal for us. Okay. We have fully scanned our first wormhole. Every signature we've either bookmarked or identified as being something that is not of use to us. We have run 2 nullsec difficulty data sites, and with middling success, we blew up a couple of data banks, but we hacked a couple too. We hacked a whole bunch of cans. And now we're heading safely back to known space with all of this loot. Much of it of questionable value, but some of it of really easily understood value.